What is up, everyone? Thanks for joining us for episode 123 of the Game Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Kenny, and with me is a special guest, aka one of my favorite writers. Say what's up to Destiny Jackson. How you doing?
Hey, hi, I'm doing well. Connor's story of Heated Rivalry Frame is going to be on
Yes.
SNL tonight. So we're all in celebration. Tonight is also the NAACPs. And then tonight's also the Producer Guild Awards. So there's a lot happening today, but, we're
Yes.
trying to celebrate.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to keep up with all of this madness going on with the awards, and
Oh,
uh I was even just trying to watch all the films that are nominated and everything. I caught most of them, but there's a few that are out there that I'm trying to watch. But yeah, it's just been a lot, especially with if anybody's been in the news or looked at the news. It's been crazy right about now. And so a lot to talk about, definitely a lot to talk about. For the people listening, you might have recognized that Destiny was with us a while ago, actually, on episode 86. Um, and so this is her return. So we're happy to have her. Unfortunately, Tess cannot be with us tonight. Again, with things being so busy, um, she's moving and she also had another event that she had to go to. So she will be back, though, next week. So tonight is just going to be me and Destiny. And like I said, we have a lot to talk about. Before we get to the first topic, though, you were just mentioning Resident Evil 9 and that you were enjoying that.
yeah, Resident Evil 9, sponsored by Capcom. Just kidding.
Nice.
Capcom sponsor this podcast. Do you hear me? Do you hear me, Capcom? I think yeah, Resident Evil 9 just dropped yesterday, and
Yes.
I got an early preview of it maybe 2 weeks ago. So I'm already done with the game, and I think some other people are finishing this game
Yes.
in like 2 hours, like 3 hours. And it took me like 16 hours because it is so scary. It's reminiscent of like Resident Evil 7, but it's
Yeah.
scarier than that in some ways too, because you have this character, Grace Ashcroft, who's new to the series, but her mom was in a previous game, Resident Evil Outbreak.
Yes.
And then you have Leon S. Kennedy, who's returned and he's hotter than ever. And Grace's portion of the game flip flops between Grace and Leon, and Grace's part of the game is so frightening. So every time you
Mm.
play her, it's just the most terrifying shit you could ever think of in your life happening to one person. If
Right.
I was Grace, I would have offed myself a while ago. I wouldn't have made it. I would have been like, you know what? It's time to, when it's your time to go, I think you should follow that, I think you should go.
Yes, that is
But it's
Tess's
good.
motto. Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to Tess.
Yes. Well,
But
that's
it's
dope.
good. It's good. The story is another thing altogether, but obviously I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I think the story could have been better. But the scares are very good. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I will be checking that out when I get a chance. I have some reviews to do. And I'm playing Marathon right now, which has been pretty solid. I can speak a little bit about it because they have the open beta happening right now. And so it's been really fun playing with friends and jumping into the game. I really wish it looks like the game has the bones for a solid co-op, like uh yeah, just cooperative, like story-based game, but it's an extraction shooter, so it's like people, you're fighting other players and stuff like that. And while that's good because Bungie is really good at making shooters, I'm also like, I see the potential. There's so much here that could be like a really cool single player or cooperative game. Not that I'm hating on extraction shooters. I'm just saying we have a lot of them, and Arc Raiders just, it's not too far ago from Arc Raiders. So I'm like, but so far it's been really fun, and I'm looking forward to the full game. I was sent the code for that, so hopefully, I'm currently pitching a few things right now, so hopefully that comes through. But my week has been busy. This is actually one podcast I've been doing, so have another one to do right after. So yeah, it's been a little busy, but busy is good. Busy is good.
We move. Yeah, that's right. Look, a good productive Black History Month. How about that?
Yes,
Happy Black
yes.
History Month.
So yeah, one of the first topics we wanted to talk about was the Writers Guild strike. Me and Tess spoke about this last week, and how we were just confused about what was happening. Like, how could a Writers Guild, like the staff of a Writers Guild, going on strike right before the guild goes and have negotiations with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. Um, and granted, it's that's coming up on March 16th, but that's like a week and some change away, and
Mhm.
it just seems like an odd thing to do, especially what you represent, right? And so I was looking on Variety. Shout out to Gene Maddox over there, and there's a quote that says, the WGA has said that negotiations will go on as usual, even if the staff remains on strike. The Writers Guild staff union, which represents about 2/3 of all WGA West employees, walked out on February 17th. For the people that know, the strike has already started, alleging that the WGA West leadership had failed to bargain in good faith on issues like wage scales and just cause for discipline. The union has warned that the Writers Guild Awards, which is scheduled for the March 8th, could be canceled if a deal is not reached soon. I believe that is already canceled as of right now. I'm not 100% sure, but because they said they had until Friday, which Breaking the Fourth Wall was yesterday, to come back. And they haven't. They're currently picketing. Some of the writers has actually joined them on the picket line, which is really cool, form of solidarity. And so it's just, while this is unwinding, I'm just still baffled at how this could get to this point. Because one of the things I remember reading that the union staff, they wanted better health insurance. That was one of the things, right? And that's always like yeah, give them health insurance, right? That seems like an easy thing to do, in terms of like morally at the very least. I don't know about the cost of it. And it's ironic because one of the big things that the WGA is negotiating for with the producers and everything is better health insurance, right? So it's like I don't. I feel like like people can look at them, or the producers can look at them and be like, "How are you lobbying for these things if your staff is like you're not giving?" Like you can kind of see where we're at with this. You know what I mean? It's like a weird
It's
thing.
it's it's so bizarre, and I failed economics in school, so it's really hard for me to kind of dig into this. But from what I understand, it's exactly as you read from the Variety thing, and exactly how you extrapolate it right now, is that it's infighting. I think that's what people are not really understanding, is that
Yeah.
because initially when the story had broke, um and disclaimer, I work for Deadline, so like I know a lot of our writers on staff are covering this situation. So I
Mm.
was basically like between the Netflix Warner Brothers of it all, plus the Paramount stuff, and then
Yes.
the WGA news breaking, I was like, I need articles for dummies because it
Right.
me. And it's like, this is a really good 2 weeks for people who are good at economics and stocks and business and finance. This is your
Yes.
time. This is your time right now. I'm telling you, Destiny Jackson from Deadline.com is asking you to write an article for dummies so we can understand this. But when it comes to the WGA, so the unions, excuse me, the union of the inside of the guild is fighting against the guild
Right.
and the rights that they're basically, they're saying, from what, obviously correct me if I'm wrong, but basically the WGA union is saying, hey guilds, you need to fight for better healthcare for us
Yeah.
and better pay, and like some other like disciplinary demands. I think was one of the things they want. They
Yeah.
want better discipline for things that happen,
Hmm.
which is interesting to me because I would love to know like specifically what that means to them,
Right.
because I'm thinking about like Park Chan-wook, who is the director of this year's No Other Choice, but he's also
Mm.
done things in the past. Of course, all his movies are escaping me at this time, but No Other Choice was, I'm like, Decision to Leave. That's one of
Yeah.
them. The Old Boy movie. Okay, now my brain's on.
Yes.
But but the latest big disciplinary action was Park Chan Wook being stripped of the WGA membership
Mm.
because they claimed that he was working during the writer strike. Now, he had two projects during the time of the writer strike in 2023,
Right.
which was The Sympathizer, which was a show on HBO, and he
Mm.
was in the process of making No Other Choice.
Right.
And so they claimed that he was writing when he shouldn't have been.
Right.
And to him, I think his argument for that was, no, I'm like, I was just like directing some stuff or whatever for No Other Choice. And I also don't, I forget the detail, but there was like, it's a technicality what
Yes.
happened to him. It's a technicality because I don't think No Other Choice was even in the picture for like the WGA. Like, I don't even think they even
Right.
had like any cross contamination or anything like that, but
Yeah.
they kicked his ass out.
Hmm.
And so that was a disciplinary action. And he did appeal. He did try to appeal it. And they said, get out of here. So too bad, so sad.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me that the union is infighting with the WGA, and the WGA at large is like, okay, well, y'all do whatever you want to do. We're going to talk to the AMPTP, which is what you mentioned, the Alliance of Motion Pictures, Television, all that. So I don't know if it's like is it something we should agree with? I think everybody should have health care.
Right.
And as we know, unions like SAG, IATSE,
Hmm.
WGA, they have really good insurance packages.
Right.
That's why, actors are, we've gotten a couple actors these last couple weeks who have said, like, I know one of the Stranger Things actors that plays Max's mom in the series was like, I tried everything I could to get into the latest season so I could keep my health insurance.
Yeah.
We had James Vanderbeek from Dawson's Creek pass away and stuff because he didn't have access to that insurance anymore either. So
Yep.
we know it's good stuff, but because it's good stuff, it probably costs
Yeah.
so much to
Hmm.
keep it. So I agree with that, but I don't think being fractured before the contract negotiations, which,
Right.
like you said, March 16th, is the way to do it. But maybe that's just the only way they thought they had leverage. But it seems like the WGA does not care
Yeah. They
at
don't
all.
seem to
Yeah,
care, and it's because they're, and this is WGA, I believe, West. So it's not
that's right.
the entire thing, and I think that's why they're able to still operate, because it's not the entire guild, but
Right.
or union. But it's like, well, how bad did it have to get to this point? Because I'm sure they had talks, and because I remember it came out that things were breaking down, the talks were breaking down, it wasn't going well, and they were threatening a
Mm,
strike, and this was a while ago, and it was like, well, guys, we got this big thing coming up, maybe we should do this, later. And the fact that they want to be there to help the writers and they still decided to strike means that something had to have happened for them to feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, the
mhm.
timing is just too perfect for this to be a, you know, and I don't think, considering how many people signed up for it, I don't think it's something where we're just, oh, we're going to shake them down because, this big negotiation is coming up. I think it's more so like we feel that we were wronged in some form or fashion, and
Yeah,
we got to get this right. And this is a way to put pressure on them, to kind of come to the table or whatever. It's
yeah.
interesting to me, and I wish I knew more about what's happening, but it's also the most weird infighting thing that I've seen because
It's
of what's happening.
strange.
You know what I mean? Because of, it's like a police officer arresting a police officer and getting mad that he was arrested. Like, it's a weird thing. It's like you're inside of a thing. It's meta. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
no, it's totally it's a Russian nesting doll type. You
yes,
know what I mean? The many
yes,
it is, and there's just not enough information yet. I don't think they've made like the health plans that they want clear, I think, but they
yeah,
haven't made it like like they haven't really released much information about like, okay, what does this mean? What do you want? What do you? So yeah, I do think that there's something larger at play here. But it is very strange. Infighting, I do still want, I support people who want to get the money, get the bag, whatever you need to do, but it's just very odd timing. I don't know what's going on, guys. I hope you kiss and make up because
yeah.
it's wild. But yes, to be clear though, to everybody listening, and Tess and Kenneth brought this up already, but yeah, just to be clear, it's no, you can still work, everyone can still work during this time, so it's not
Yes,
like as intense as the 2023
yes. The writers
situation.
can do their thing and everything.
Yeah,
It's not that,
and the awards haven't been canceled just yet that I
they
know
haven't.
of,
Okay, okay.
but we'll see
Yeah, they made a comment
because
to
they
the
still have
sort of,
time.
yeah, they were like, they
Yeah,
didn't want people to like basically cross the picket line to get into the awards, which I
yeah,
totally understand. Um,
yeah,
it's unfortunate. Hopefully everybody works things out, and fairly works things out, I should say, before this stuff
Yeah.
implodes. I think one of the other things before we move on, I remember reading was they want to protect us from AI, and that's been a big like to do for everything as of late, whether it's journalism, entertainment, or whatever, what have you, is that we want protections to keep us from go away. We want protections to keep us from losing our jobs potentially, um, or in some cases, I like in video gaming where people are signing off on their voices and for the voice acting, but then you're not called back because you signed off and you agreed, you got paid well, but now they could just use your voice whenever, and so you kind of don't have that revenue anymore, at least for that particular game. And so it's a big deal. Like I said, hopefully everybody comes to the table and no one's screwed over. Um, Moving on to a big event that happened not too long ago. Everyone should know, or if you haven't known, I'm going to inform you of the BAFTA incident. This is such a touchy subject. And I think that what's interesting to me is how Black people have kind of aligned in their mind. And I want to preface this before I go into what happened. I'm not talking about the extremes. We know the extremes are there, and I don't think we need to focus on those because people who are logical or people who are mindful of what's happening and want to be tactful understand what is happening, or at the very least will look up the like what Tourette's is and stuff like that. They're not going to just make blatant statements, and so we're not going to focus on them. But there is a good conversation to have about what happened. So if you don't know, Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were at BAFTA, and they were getting ready to present an award. And John Davison, who is he is the subject of the movie I Swear, that was also there to get an award. Um, he has Tourette syndrome, and he's battled this his entire life, and so the movie is based on his life, and so obviously he would be there because he was going to be the actors in the film were going to be are up for awards, and so um, while they were shooting the show, Alan Cumming, the host, um, spoke to the audience and said, Davidson has Tourette syndrome, so you might hear a slur or something offensive, and so we just want to let you know and everything. And unfortunately, or I don't, it's different accounts of what happened, but some of the actors said that they weren't told that. The audience was told, but not the actors themselves. And so Michael B. Jordan and Delroy come up. They are getting ready to present, and then Davidson says the N word. Big commotion, not there, but online. Big commotion because the word wasn't censored. Now, Nick Bullen, the executive producer of the show, said that the team that was editing the broadcast didn't hear the slur, which is weird to me considering it's on a 2-hour delay and they edited a bunch of other stuff. It just doesn't.
Didn't hear the slur.
Yeah, he said
Didn't hear
they
it.
didn't hear it.
He
And when
blacked out.
yeah, it's just they didn't hear it at all, right? And so
Blacked out.
they didn't do it, um, and so the slur aired for everyone across the planet to hear, and so that turned into a big thing. John Davidson removed himself, and you can tell like Michael B. Jordan and Lindo were standing up there, and they were like kind of taken aback by hearing it, and then they went on, as professionals do, and when they got off stage, I remember Lindo was quoted to say that nobody at BAFTA actually came to them and said, "Hey, we're sorry," or "This is a thing that was happening," or whatever. Like he was like, no one spoke to them at all about what happened, and so they're just kind of just like, "All right, this is happening, cool," and so further, like I want to say a day later. I'm trying to get the timelines right. The BAFTA came out and the BBC came out and said, we apologize if you were offended," which was like
Right.
a hollow apology. And then Davidson said that he felt bad. He didn't want people to think that that was his belief or like that he was racist or anything. And, that he removed himself and left. And he kind of left it there. And people were upset because they were like, there was no apology from him. And that turned into this big debate on whether he should apologize or not, because he can't control he can't control what he says. And later on, we found out that he apparently reached out to them privately. His team reached out to apologize. He also questioned why that apparently there was a microphone seated near him or whatever, so like
Yeah.
people could hear. But Bullen said that the microphone wasn't on. It was just to check this, amplify the sound or whatever from the auditorium. It wasn't necessarily there to monitor what people were saying. And so a whole lot of craziness. And yeah, I am so I think
I was watching the I was watching the show and listening to you explain this back is just still so fucking bonkers. Anyway,
yes.
please continue. Yeah.
So
Still
like
so
I am
bonkers.
so there was this, so this big debate came about in terms of yes, we are allowed to be offended, but we have to be not okay, but we have to be okay with him potentially not apologizing. And the through line for that was if he apologizes for his Tourette's, he has to apologize all the time. And that was something that was big in his film. I believe his mother said you don't have to apologize, and she made an example of like saying if a blind person bumps into someone, would you make them apologize? And so, a couple things. I think some of this is based on how you were raised. I know like a lot of black folks, there's some similarities there in terms of if you cause harm, even inadvertently, that you should try to make amends of that harm. That's just how we were raised. And the idea, like what
Yeah.
his mother was saying, about a blind person, you making them, apologize. I've actually had a blind friend in high school who bumped into people all the time and would always say, I'm sorry. And the person who bumped into them as well would say they're sorry because they're like, oh, you're blind. Crap. It was my fault. Because just thinking like, even if it's not my fault, I'm going to say sorry. And I get to the fact that he can't, it's not controlled, or he can't control what he says. Right. And I understand the idea of having to apologize everywhere you go nonstop. However, I do think this might be a special case. Even if you have that stance, I think this might be a special case considering you said the word to two people at an award show that's broadcasted all over the world. Like this might be the time you can make it, making
An exception.
an exception. You know
Make
what I mean? To
a
apologize,
little amendment. Yeah. A
right?
little amendment to the constitution of your condition. I think that this has been analyzed, I feel like, more than the JFK assassination. Okay. Everyone has looked at many angles. Okay. Many fucking angles of this
Yes,
situation. And I think at the end of the day, I think it is complicated. It shouldn't be complicated, but I think it is for all those things you mentioned, right? Because it's like, okay, but should people really apologize for their disability? And John Davidson's disability is Tourette's, but he also has coprolalia,
yes,
which is a even rarer form of Tourette's syndrome, which causes you to say obscenities.
right,
And that's the thing that's like, okay, yes, you have this condition. No, it does not mean you're inherently racist, because if to put it in layman's terms too, it's like you can't get mad for, okay, let me use this as a specific example. And I know you said we're not going to focus on these people, and I don't want to because we're
right,
smarter
right,
than that. But what I don't think people are understanding, we're exposed to many, 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 many words.
right,
Many, 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 many words. And just because he says the N word, I get the like knee jerk reaction to like being like, oh well, word association, and that means he's racist. Like
right,
I get that, but like it's way more complicated than that, because it's like, no, we hear words, and so just think of, your brain has a storage of words it's heard.
right.
His condition particularly makes him think of any word he's ever heard in his life and to say it.
Yeah,
And
and it picks
it
the
is
bad ones
deeply in,
purposefully. Like it picks the
it
bad
picks the
ones.
bad
Yeah,
ones,
yeah,
which, I mean, that's a whole other episode I'm sure that we could talk about, like, because that is such a, obviously not to make fun of this guy's condition, that's not where I'm coming from at all. That is just, it's incredible to me that the human mind it's so powerful
Yeah.
that if a single synapsis, your brain chemistry is altered in any way, that it can have you can have a condition
Yeah.
that literally makes you do that. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like that's really wild that
It
that can
is.
happen.
Yeah.
And that's the situation that we're in, right? So
Right.
it's not it's not fair, I think, to expect Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo to not be upset about what happened. When it
Correct.
initially happened on the stage, my first thought, because this is what everybody likes to say, and what they said that day when that news broke, was they told everybody. They told everybody. They told everybody. Alan Cumming came out on stage afterward and he told everybody again.
Right.
And it's like, but when you look at that, it does not look like they knew.
Correct. Correct.
And then
Yeah.
I was on Twitter fighting for my life
Right.
because I was like, I don't think they knew.
Yeah, and
I
he
don't think
says
they
it.
knew.
He says it as much. He's like,
And
I
then
wish someone
Delroy
would have
said
told
that
me. Yeah, I wish someone would have told me that this
the
is what this
next
was.
day.
Yeah.
The next day, I was like, where's everybody at that I was fighting with? Because I
Yeah.
told you, because you can just see their faces deflate. Because I feel like if they would have known, not necessarily that their faces wouldn't deflate, because you still don't know that word is probably going to be lobbied at you or whatever,
Right.
but like I feel like they would have handled it different, or their faces would have been different. It would
They
have
would have
been
been
like, oh, okay,
shielded.
that's that, yeah, that's like, oh, that's, that's old Davison, and you know what I mean? Like, so
Right.
it was just like, don't tell me they knew when it doesn't
Yeah.
look like they knew, but they were professional
Hmm.
and they did what they had to do anyway. So Davidson, he has, like you said, he has apologized more or less. Well, not like it's not the best apology, but um, he shouldn't have to apologize for his disability. But in this case, I do think something needs to be in order. But since we were talking about infighting as well
Hmm.
just a moment ago with the WGA, now BAFTA and the BBC are fighting each other.
Yeah, throwing each other under the bus, and we don't know what happened here. It's their fault, and
How did
there's
that happen?
yeah, and because it
Who
was
had the edit? Who was eating a
yeah,
sandwich at 3:30 p.m. and forgot to get the N-word out the edit?
right,
Because then here's the tea. Davidson said it came out that he said a homophobic slur during the BBC during the BAFTA thing, and they cut that out. We still don't know what the slur is. They didn't put it in the articles that I read or
right,
anything like that. But he said something, and I guess to be fair, like he was saying things throughout the night
right.
that were egregious or whatever. But like they cut, like you said, they cut those out. They cut those out. They left
Yep.
the N word in. They cut out
The
the my
Palestine.
father's shadow person. Yeah, they
Yeah,
cut out the Palestine thing, and then somebody was asleep when they was on there talking about the N word.
yeah, and
So
it's
what does that mean?
and then like the I want to say Warner Brothers reached out and was like, "Hey, can you make sure that doesn't get into the broadcast or whatever?" So between I don't know
Yes.
the timeline with that, but the way that they're speaking, they spoke to them prior to the 2 hour delay being up or whatever. So I'm like, what happened with all this, right? I think yeah, the BBC and BAFTA should definitely get most of the heat. Um, and I personally don't think like yeah, with the extremes, with the idea like he's not supposed to be there, he shouldn't be there, he shouldn't be allowed to A, B, and C. None of that is should be a thing, right? He's a person. We should treat him like a person. Even in the way that
Absolutely.
we speak about his condition, because he doesn't even want. Um, I believe his community doesn't like the word disabled, so they'll say just their condition. We should treat them
Right.
with respect, and I have nothing necessarily against him. And even his stance on not apologizing, it wasn't me necessarily being upset with him. It was more so me being upset with or being disappointed, and then being upset with the people who are championing it. Because so like there's this thing, and it could be just because we're writers, right? But there's this thing where like people use words and I don't think they understand what they mean fully, right? When you say, would you
Oh,
make
every day.
someone? Yeah, like would you make someone? No one is making him do anything. Like no one made him leave. No one made, you know what I'm saying? No one made him give an apology. or a statement. These are all things that he's doing, right? And the idea that you expect something isn't a make thing, right? I feel like the people who are saying that have never been forced to do anything in their life. Like no one has physically forced you to do something. And it's weird that you keep putting this up there like, you know, we're putting him in a headlock to give an apology. I also heard something foolish where they're like, well, Michael B. Jordan and Lindo are privileged. They're privileged because they have money and all this other stuff. And I'm like, you know what's interesting about that idea about them being famous, right? And this makes this worse. And I don't think people understand it. They have heard that word before. They have dealt with that word throughout their life. If they've faced any type of racism before they got to this point, right? You're getting an award at an award show, or you're presenting at an award show. At no point do you think it's going to happen there, especially if you're not told, right? If you're not told, you don't think it's going to happen there. So the look on their face to me
in a
was
room
like,
of your peers,
right, with your peers
yeah,
during Black History Month. It's like
mm-hmm.
their face to me was like, oh, and here too, like also here we're gonna hear this. Like this is, we can't escape this. If anything, you know what I mean? Like that's the disappointment
Right.
and like the shock and potential embarrassment, right? And so it was hurtful. And you know, he said it to a couple other people from the Sinners cast, and they said some things, you know, about it. And I understand, I get it, and I think it's difficult situation, but I don't think it's so difficult that we can't be mindful of everybody. Like I think people are pushing Black people to you know aside and being like, just deal with it. Just you know, put your big big boy pants on and just deal with the fact that you were called the N word nationally, like or internationally. Sorry,
Right.
internationally. You feel me?
Yeah.
That's
At any
yeah,
time, yeah, really.
that's
I mean,
rough.
because it's broadcast everywhere. Yeah, I think it not. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean
Oh
to.
no, that was it was
Yeah,
it's just the idea of like people putting them on a pedestal in a way that means you can't respond. Like because you've made a certain amount of
yeah.
money or you're prestigious or whatever the case may be, that you don't have feelings, you don't
You
feel
made it.
things, and you're above whatever
Yeah.
it is. Basically policing how you should feel and how you should react even is terrible. And I think people are doing that when anybody asks for like an apology or expect an apology. It's like, no, you should just get over it. Like you should be fine. It's okay. And I feel like the same way you want to protect John, you should want to protect these men. Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. I mean, again, growing up as a Black person, I really do think people under that get over it stuff is so irritating for many reasons.
Yes.
One, because segregation wasn't that long ago. Like, if you really think about that, 1960, okay, 1964,
Yeah.
that's my parents,
Yep.
your parents, probably
Yep.
someone else's parents. It's literally barely even a generation ago.
Yeah.
With the segregation, with racism, with the la 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 la, all the stuff, right?
Right.
And it's like, get over it. How can we get over it when we're literally, it's still right behind us on our back? And there's so much systematic oppression that we still deal with to
Right.
this day. That's part one. Part two is I don't think people really understand, and by people, I do mean non Black people, do not understand the things that we do endure that we don't talk about.
Exactly.
And a lot of that, there's been studies on this.
Hmm.
One just recently came out from the new in the Washington Post, how internalized racism, things that discrimination, all kinds of stuff that Black people face causes harm
Yes.
to our bodies on the
Yes.
inside because we don't express it. Because when we express it, we are like told to shut up, get over it. That's not what that person meant,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Or we're a complainer, like, oh, you got to make everything political, and it's like, actually, you politicized it by me just being. I'm just existing here,
Right.
and it's already political for you because I'm
Yes.
existing here. You put a
Exactly.
Black person in a video game, oh, it's don't let the gamers see that shit because then it'll be you're woke,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
political. Why is there a Black person in Resident Silent Hill, Silent
Yes.
Hill Townfall?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I have totally gone off of words, but really quick, I'll come back. Silent Hill Townfall. Okay, that's a new game coming out,
Yes.
and it's got a black lead character, and I believe he is in Scotland, which is insane to me because I'm like, what are black people doing in Scotland? But allegedly they exist there. Who's to say, right? And there's two sides of the internet. One was Black Twitter, which was absolutely having a ball laughing about
Yes.
like, oh, this is Silent Hill Hood, this is Silent Hill N,
Yes.
all these types of things, right? And they're like, oh, Silent Hill's a brother, give me some dap, right?
Yes.
That kind of thing. And then you have the other psychotic side, which is like,
Yes.
oh, Silent Hill's woke and there's no black people. Like, why would black people be in Scotland? Like, negative. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
so, anyway, so then we have that. Then let's go back to the privilege thing with Delroy and Michael B. Jordan. Of course, they've heard that word.
Yeah.
I'm 32. I've heard that
Yeah.
word. I think Michael's not that much older than me. And Delroy, he's been around forever. I think he's in his 70s. He's definitely heard that word more than me and Michael probably ever have.
Right.
In a different context too. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, so it's this thing of like, that's what made me so hurt on the internet, is that now we're facing like, these men did not deserve to hear that word in front of their peers. We understand the condition. By
Right.
saying that we're not allowed to feel what we feel, you are protecting that man. And I don't really know how to articulate that any better than you just did, but you're also at the same time undermining our intelligence
Right.
by assuming we don't understand the nuances of the situation. Now,
Yeah.
are there some crazy people who was going a little? I was like, hey, don't say that. That's what the group
Right.
chat is for. Don't say
Right.
that. But I was like, don't say that. That's what the group chat. But we get it. We get
Yeah.
it. Like, there's times when it's just like, okay, this is the last thing I'll say.
Mhm.
Going back to, we internalize a lot of the things that we hear. Sometimes it's also just like, people don't realize that people of color also just be like, sometimes people be like, hey, N-word slur or whatever slur they want to throw at you. And you just be like, okay, and you know what I mean? Okay. Like, that's all you got? You gonna call me that? That's all you got? Okay. That's whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what I feel like. That's what I feel like this situation could have been, had Delroy and Michael known, hey, there's a man. I was just told right before I walked out on stage, they just told me there's a man in the audience. Maybe they were late, because also that's the other question though that's kind of valid to me, I think, that no one's been able to answer,
Mm.
is if they were telling everybody multiple times throughout the night, that there was a man with Tourette's in the audience, why didn't Delroy and Michael know? Where
Right.
were they at? Did they show up late? But it's like, it doesn't really matter, because even if they showed up later, they were in the bathroom or wherever it was, they should have been told again, I feel
Right.
like, before they went on stage. But
Yeah.
also, like, nobody can predict that he would say the N-word, of course, like Davidson will say the N-word. But why weren't they told again? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why weren't they told again? If you everybody got failed. That's I think that's
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
want to say.
Yeah.
Everybody got failed. They got failed, and John got failed too.
Yeah. And it's
So
like, they did, like,
anyway,
coming up to them later and saying, like, the when he was like, if you're offended in the audience, the host said, if you're offended, and it's like, yeah, they were offended. There was no if about it. And then also, I think
yeah.
people misunderstand the hard ER of it all. Like, that word came with violence. And I know people don't understand, because they'll say things like, oh, well, what happens if a black person says cracker? I'm like, the level of
You,
difference there, it's the magnitude is beyond. I just don't understand how you don't understand. And again, you're not black, so maybe that's why, but history has
right.
shown that this word followed, or this, like, violence followed this word. And so, hearing that from a white person, however the circumstance, you are immediately tense. You're immediately like, what is going to happen? What is happening because of the history of that word? And then there's
Still
also
triggering.
the idea that, like, we should get over it. Or the idea, like, it's been so long since fill in the blank. I remember a person that I knew would say something to the effect of, "Well, back in when we were in high school, I didn't know that racism was this prevalent, right?" And I'll be like, you know what? It's because we didn't talk about it, because we have normalized these things. I remember being in college, and I told this story before, where every time I would go to a specific bookstore in college, I would get followed around, and I never told my parents about it because it was such a
Mm-hmm.
normal, like a normal thing that I just dealt with it. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't there. So then, when it finally boils over because someone crosses a certain line, everyone's like, "Oh my god! Like I didn't know, like racism is a thing." All of a sudden, like, no, it's always there. It's just micro, macro. That's
Yeah, it depends on what you notice, and I think you're right. Again, like it's just that thing. I mean, I don't want to teach a 4-hour course in racism. That's also going to be another podcast episode. But you're absolutely right. Like we all have those shared experiences, and it's so sad. And we have to know. That's the thing that just makes me so freaking mad about this administration not wanting to teach, race studies and all this stuff again, because it's like the big thing is like you're gonna make white children feel bad, but it's like as black kids we don't really get the option to be free
right,
because we're constantly the man's following us in the store, but of course we
right.
know that because he's not following the other white kids in the store. I'm trying to buy a soda and
Yeah.
he's not, no one else is following a white lady. I had a white friend with me. I was and this is the hard thing too about being a journalist. Sometimes in these white spaces, like sometimes people will be like, are you supposed to be here? And anyway, so I
Yes.
had a friend with me in the store, white guy, and he noticed this lady was following me around the fucking store. And he was like, Destiny, like I stopped in the aisle. He was like, Destiny, like this old lady's like following you. And I was like, yeah, I clocked her like 10 minutes
Right.
ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he was just like, oh my God, like I didn't know, that existed. And I'm like, no, it's always there, but your perception is different. And when you're just living your life. And to tie it in even to this hockey thing, which I know, the US men's hockey team, a lot
Oh
of them
yeah.
are like, oh, we're not political, and it doesn't mean that. And it's like, because you're white, when the world doesn't affect you,
Yeah.
you don't really care what's going on. And cracker, to back to your point, if I call you a cracker, who still has the good end of the straw at the end of the
Right.
day? You do. You
Right.
cracker. You
Yes.
cracker, you have it. The only
Yes.
cracker I love is Cracker Island by the Gorillas. Okay? I sound like an old man just talking about anything, but if I call you cracker, you still have the better end of the straw. You call me the N word, and that's why we can't even really say it, right? You can say cracker on TV. If we turn on CNN, Anderson Cooper could say, today we're talking about crackers or
Right.
whatever it is. And but
Facts.
Anderson Cooper can't be like, we're talking about, he can't say
Yeah.
that. He
Yeah.
can't say ER. It would be a whole field day. So there's a lot of discrimination tied to that word, whereas crackers, and then there's white trash, trailer park trash. Like, sure, are those slurs, and I'm doing air quotes, are those slurs for the white community? Sure. Sure, they're slurs for the white community, but none of them have affected their status in
Yes.
their societal position the way that the N word has. And so
Exactly.
that's what, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And the
So
last
anyway.
thing I'll say on that is the person who was like because they said the N-word a bunch of times in Sinners, that they should be fine with hearing hard ER. Like, fam, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. Cause y'all niggas is crazy. Anyways,
Right.
the next thing we want to talk
And they
about.
love to say that. They love to say, oh, black people love to call each other nigga. And it's like, we do, nigga.
Yeah, like
And
it's
yeah,
different. It's
we sure
different.
do. Yeah,
It's
it's
different.
different. Get the hell
Different
out of
spelling
here.
and everything. The last
Yeah.
thing we want to talk
Anyway.
about, which I'm super excited for, and we spoke a little bit about it last pod, was the Oscars. The Oscars are gonna be coming up pretty soon, and I'm looking forward to. Well, I'm like Issa Rae. I'm voting for everybody black. That's just how it is. I'm not a voter for people, so you don't get upset. But I'm rooting for everybody black, right? And so we have a ton of people, a ton of categories and stuff. I was looking at Best Picture, and I've seen majority of these
Mm.
films. I haven't seen Frankenstein yet. I need to go see that. But I have seen Battle After Another. I've seen Sinners, obviously. I've seen Begonia. So a bunch of these I've seen or whatever. And so I'm curious because, like, obviously Sinners has the most, like, nominations. I don't think they're
Record
going to get
breaking.
all of them. I'm hoping they get some of the bigger ones. I hope they get Best Picture, because that will be, not only will be a first in several ways, but also be a first in horror, which I would be super enamored by. Like, that would be amazing. And I think
Yeah.
Ryan deserves it. But um, I think is going to go, based on what they're saying, I think is going to go to One Battle After Another, and I feel a way about that, because I think that movie is outside of certain performances and certain scenes, I feel like it's such a mid movie compared to some of these other ones. And I'm just like,
Ooh,
oh my gosh, yeah, that whole thing, and I spoke about
that's
that
a hot
too.
take.
That whole thing with Tiana Taylor about, whether or not she's was too sexualized or whatever the case would be. I was like, that was not the problem for me. She was perfectly fine. We're allowed to be whatever we want to be in film. I just think it's mid. I think it started mid and wild, and I think the middle part is like amazing, and then it gets mid at the end, and it's just a mid. It's just mid. I do not like the film, and so the fact that it
Oh
could
my
win
gosh.
over some of these other films just makes me aggy. But what are some of the films that you think? Because I know you've seen, being an awards
I've
writer, you've seen just about everything, right?
yeah, I do everything but prognosticating. That's somebody, look, like I said, I'm not good at economics. I'm not good at numbers and the counting and the stats. Okay, but I have like a good, like, I can say like, oh, I think this could win because I think this, that, and the other. But it's like more of
Mm,
like a gut feeling versus like,
yeah,
and a little bit of stats. But it's not like, oh, and so Sinners won at the PGA, DGA, none of that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
One battle after another, slander. That's so
Yes,
funny.
yes.
Um,
I tweeted right when I was
yeah.
watching it. I was like, this can't
Did
be.
you tweet? Oh my
I was
gosh,
like, this
yeah.
can't be real. I was like, someone is playing a joke on me. Oh my goodness.
No, that's what my one battle after another, like to you, is sentimental value to me.
Ah, okay.
Sorry to Norway. Mad respect. I love Frozen. I love Frozen 2. But that Norwegian, so Joachim Trier, he did Worst Person in the World, and which also got some Oscar buzz, and then
Yeah.
he did Sentimental Value. But anyway, so I just thought, I was just like, okay, and like, you got two white, you want to talk about white people, you got two white girl, or one white girl, one essential white girl to the plot, right? And she has some daddy issues, which, okay, girl, don't we all in some way? And so, and then like the movie's just kind of like, oh, she's so sad, and then it just kind of ends, and I'm just like, okay, white girl, like that's fine. Sometimes they're just like white movies, you know what I mean? Like Lady Bird kind of fits into this category
Yes.
for me, where I'm just like, white move, like, okay, white girl, I'm sorry you're sad, like that's
Yes.
fine, I guess, whatever. But anyway, I'm surprised though, because I thought Begonia was kind of mid. So like, did you like Begonia?
I did. So
Ah,
I feel a way, and here's the thing with Begonia. I watched it recently, and so I haven't
okay,
fully processed it like I did the others. Um, I think
okay,
I liked it
okay.
up until the end, and I didn't know it was a remake when I watched it. Um, I didn't know about the
Yes,
previous film.
Korean.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
so I was kind of like,
But I think they're
huh,
fairly different. Yeah.
yeah, and I was like, huh, like this isn't. It's one of those things. Like when I watched Ready or Not years ago,
Mm,
I felt like Ready or Not had to end a certain way or it doesn't work as a film. And I feel like this is the same, but unfortunately you can predict it. And so it was like, I think ABC is going to happen. And they're
yeah.
kind of pushing me away from that. And then it happened. And I was like, oh, okay. And so it changed how I felt.
Yeah.
I think the performances are great. Um, I,
Jesse
fr-
Plemons. Jesse
he
Plemons.
scares me. I'm
He's
not going to hold
great.
you. Like,
Yeah. He's
all
a
the films he's
chameleon in everything
in.
that he does.
Yes, but like
Yeah. I went.
the ones that stick
Sorry.
out are the
We
ones.
both got excited
Yeah,
about Jesse.
yeah. First,
We
and
were like,
yes, I think he's amazing. He's amazing, right? But I also feel like the films that I see him in where that sticks out the most are the ones where he's potentially a bad guy. And I'm like,
Yes.
you do that too well. Like you are really good at
Yeah.
that, and it freaks me the
Yeah.
heck out. Um, but yeah, I feel like their performances was really really good, and I think that carried a lot
Yeah.
of it for me because it was so slow building up to the where the actual tension comes in that I can
Right.
understand people being like, it's whatever. But I think the performances during a few key scenes kind of elevated it for me.
Yeah.
Similarly to like one battle after another, there's scenes that like just like it just plummeted after a point. Um,
Yeah.
and I think
Um mm,
I was just gonna say I think a lot of these films are they because the people in them, there's always gonna be like a really good moment or a really good shot or really good cinematography or something that you can pull
yeah.
from. But holistically, I'm like, I don't know if it's best picture though. I don't know. I don't know.
No, and I know we want to wrap on this, so I'll try to be quick about it. But I really like Jesse's performance because he's really good at being nasty in this. Like he's nasty, like he's dirty, he's nasty, and then
Yes.
it's like, but then he's sad. Something happened to him. They don't really
Yes.
explain it, and it's like So it's kind of like a really layered performance from him. And then Emma Stone, obviously, the girl can eat.
Yes.
Um, I kind of want to retire her though because she's been everywhere in the last couple, just a little bit, like not in the
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence way, which I don't think Jennifer Lawrence should have disappeared on us like that. Like whatever people say about her, it's trash, it's garbo, throw it away.
Yes.
But I love her. She shouldn't anyway. So Emma Stone, in the sense of if we had to nominate an Emma Stone performance, I think I didn't like Eddington, but
Mm,
she does something that we've never seen her do before
yeah.
in Eddington. I while we haven't seen her, I don't. I'll say spoiler warning, spoiler warning, spoiler warning. Begonia, we've seen her kind of be like a badass, like female, like with autonomy. Like Poor Things was like, she
Right.
goes from this like creature to like this woman who starts a sex empire kind of in a way.
Yeah.
But she has autonomy. This one is the same thing except she's like an alien. I kind of find the things similar-ish, but we've
Yeah.
just throughout her career though we've just seen her, she doesn't do anything too extraordinary here, I think is what I'm trying to say.
She has a
And
Denzel Washington thing going.
kind of, yeah, it's just kind of like, okay, like she's great, but I'm just like, okay, you just won, have a seat.
Right.
I would have loved to see, Eddington, her anyway, because she just plays this like weird brainwashed woman. So it's like, oh, I haven't seen you do that before. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think my pick this year is for best picture. I think I am Sinner's Hive.
Yes.
But one battle after another is deeply close.
Yeah.
It's close, and I'm sorry to say, but I love black women. I love them, and anything with Wunmi Mosaku in it is gonna get my vote. So,
Yes.
Sinners has my best picture vote. I think that we shouldn't underestimate the Academy. A couple years ago, they opened the floodgates for more members, and in
Yes.
doing so, they added more diverse members and younger members, of all kinds. And I think that's why we're seeing things like Honora win Best Picture,
Yeah.
Poor Things making it in, Sinners making it
Yes.
in, because like horror has been, like you said, notoriously shut out. Amy Madigan for Weapons. Oh, that we're not. We would have to do another episode. I don't like Weapons at all, and I have a lot to say about Amy
What?
Madigan, but we won't do that. We won't do that today. But Sinners is my pick. That's where I am.
Awesome.
Sinners. Yeah, Sinners is, it's just so good from start to finish. It's funny.
Yes.
It's got horror. It's got the cast is hot as hell.
Yes.
So if anything, I think they also walk away with the casting, which is new to the Oscars this year. I think they walk away with the casting nomination.
Yeah.
Um, I
I
think
think
I'm hoping original screenplay for Kubrick too.
yes. Yes. And the same with
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the what is I forgot her name. She won this award for Black Panther for costume design.
Oh, Ruth
Um
E. Carter.
yes, I'm pretty sure they're going to get that. Um what do you think about best actor and actress?
Yeah. So best actor, I was on the Timothy Chalamet train. Did you see Marty
Mm,
Supreme?
I have not. I have not.
Okay. He's really, really good in that. Timothy Chalamet is another chameleon, like
Yes.
Jesse Plemons. Timothy has never repeated a role.
Yeah.
Never. Not
Yep.
once. From Wonka to Call Me by Your Name to the Bob Dylan movie to whatever, like Marty Supreme, Lady Bird, all of it. He
Yeah.
has not chosen a similar role. He's great, but I think his mouth is getting him in trouble or something like that.
Okay.
And there's been some problems amongst the crew. I won't get too much into it since we're trying to keep things tight. But so I'm still sticking by Timothy Chalamet.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I think a potential upset. I think a potential upset could be Wagner Mora for the
Okay.
secret agent.
Okay.
People have liked Wagner Mora. People like the secret agent. I am not one of them, but people allegedly like it. um, but people like him. So it's Leo. I don't think has a chance. He hasn't really been winning for that role, and I think that's where the mid comes in because it's kind of like
Yeah.
Leo's kind of like a washed up, like okay, he could have did that in the sleep. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's
Yeah.
not really anything special, is it? So Timothy, short answer. Best actress, Jessie Buckley. Did you see Hamnet?
Yeah.
You did,
Unfortunately.
right? Uh-oh.
Yeah. No, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just like I want certain people to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like
Who do you want? Who do you want? You want Rose Byrne?
no, I want
Or
uh
because I'm like, is anybody black in that category? I don't think so.
oh, you know
Cynthia
what?
Erivo, Wicked is out. People said Wicked for nothing. Okay,
Oh yeah.
they did not. Wicked for who? Not
Right?
Wicked for me.
Yes.
You want Emma? Is that who you want?
I was thinking Emma. It's
Not
and it's and
again.
it's
Not again.
yeah, and it's different because I think Jesse did a great job.
Don't do it.
But I think that Emma, it's hard because Emma did a great job, but she also is doing her. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
kind of tough.
Mhm.
It's like you did better, but you always do that. And so it's like,
Yeah.
do you grade on a curve? Like how do you? That's kind of a like I don't know. Like I feel away. I feel away.
Yeah.
And that's why I
Have
was
you
like,
seen If I
unfortunate.
Had Legs?
I have
Have
not.
you
That's
seen I
also on
Had
my list
Legs?
that I need to watch.
I I fear for you. If you had a hard time kind of if you had a hard time getting through Hamnet, I would say if I had legs, I'd kick you is like it balances it's polarizing. Either you
Okay.
really like it or you don't. That's it. There's no
Ah,
in
okay.
between. Either you really like it or you don't. Very brief synopsis. It's about a mother who's at her wits end. Her daughter has an eating disorder. It's a dark comedy, believe it or not. There's a lot of comedy in it. But her daughter has an eating disorder, and her daughter is sick. And
Hmm.
so, on top of dealing with the stress of the kids, she's got stress at work because she's taking care of her daughter. Her
Hmm.
husband's not very helpful. And so, it's just really polarizing because of the subject matter.
Ah,
And Rose eats. I mean, I love Rose. I love her in Insidious, Bridesmaids. She's very good in Apple TV's Platonic.
yeah.
She's been around for a really long time. So I'm okay if Rose takes this because the conversation this whole season has been between Rose and Jesse.
Ah,
Rose and Jesse, with Jesse winning most of the awards. So if you look at the Golden Globes, the
yeah.
CCA, BAFTA, right? So she's been winning most of the big ones. SAG, we'll see what happens there.
Mm,
That's on that's tomorrow. It's
yeah.
tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Emma, we'll see. We'll see what's up.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see. I'll do fingers crossed for you, but I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
between Jesse and Rose, Kate Hudson and Renata Reinsva. Good luck, girls.
Yeah.
Good luck. I ain't got no, I don't got nothing for you, and I definitely don't have nothing for Kate Hudson. So
Goodness. On that note,
anyway,
we're gonna go ahead and wrap the show. Shout out to everybody who listened to us. If you're listening on YouTube, feel free to subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you're up on any of the other platforms, add us to your RSS feed, subscribe. Tell us what you want us to talk about in the comments. We've had a couple of you chime in on the current happenings of the world, and so I wanted to make sure that we add that to the to our topics for this week. I want to thank Destiny for hanging out with me today. Definitely appreciate you. Do you have anything you want to say to
thank
people
you.
before we bounce? Anything like you're promoting or?
Oh man, promoting. I wish. No, I just appreciate you again having me on. You're the only person I've returned to for a podcast, so I appreciate you just asking me cuz my schedule is so hectic. So I just really deeply appreciate your knowledge and wisdom. Also a huge fan of your work. You know, I'd be telling you about your game reviews or your movie reviews when I do have the time to sit down and read them and stuff. I had no idea Mortuary was was popping off like that, or not popping off actually, but I had no idea. But no, I'm a huge fan. So I love seeing you on the internet whenever I get a chance. No promotions for me. If you want to follow me, I'm at Destiny Dreadful on X and Instagram. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna be in heated rivalry mode. I'm doing upcoming interviews for that, so you know how that
Nice,
is.
nice.
Yeah,
Yes, definitely go
yeah.
check out Destiny's work. She has a really dope interview with the cast of Sinners. You got to go check that out. And
Sinners.
there's
Oh, I should promote that, should I?
yes, yes,
Sinners. I talked. Not me talking about white hockey players. Oh no! Help me. Okay, it's Black History Month. Okay, guys, he tapped in. I
yes,
did an interview, so go to Deadline. There's a really good interview that I did with the Sinners cast with Ryan B. Johnson. Who is that? Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, Wumi Masaku, and Delroy Lindo, where I talked to them about the magic of making Sinners. And Delroy and Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan have this excellent talk about Delroy refusing to eat the garlic in the scene. The garlic was not garlic; it was white chocolate. And so
yes,
there's a funny part in the interview where they talk about how Delroy was like not wanting to eat this white chocolate because it was too sweet. And anyway, it's a fun time. It's a great interview. So go check
yes.
that out.
Definitely go check that out. Oh man. So again, thanks for hanging out with us, and we hope to see you next time. Until then, y'all take it easy.